In this lesson, you will learn about the 11.4.1 changes to the Add Clinical Item window, also known as the ACI. Lesson activities include watching a demonstration, then building your skills in a practice scenario. When ready to begin, click Continue. We will start this lesson on the ACI of our patient Amber Allscripts. Notice the primary tabs. The Problem-Based Orders primary tab and the Orders primary tab have been combined into a single Orders primary tab. The Problem-Based Orders tab is now the first sub-tab in the Orders primary tab. We will review the changes to the Orders tab in just a moment. The accumulator now has a full screen and tile icon. This icon is similar to the full screen and tile icon seen on the clinical desktop. The full screen and tile icon changes the view of the accumulator from a full screen view to a tile view. Currently, the accumulator is in tile view. Tile view allows us to view several panes at the same time. We can change the panes we are currently viewing by selecting the pane's title from the accumulator. For example, clicking on the medication's title allows the medication's pane to be viewable in the accumulator. Clicking on the medications again closes the medication's pane. Let's switch to the full screen view by clicking on the full screen and tile icon. The full screen now displays. In the full screen view, only one pane is viewable at a time. We can switch between panes by clicking on the desired tab at the top of the accumulator for the section we wish to view. We will continue our lesson in the tile view, so we'll click on the full screen and tile icon once again to switch back to the tile view. From the Problems pane, we can see the My Priority and Other Problems sections. Additionally, the Assessment icons and Edit icons are listed here. As a reminder, single-clicking on the name of the problem will add the problem to the accumulator without assessing it. However, single-clicking on the Assessment icon reports and assesses the problem. Amber is here today because of a cough. Let's mark cough as assessed by single-clicking the Assessment icon. A green check mark appears confirming that cough is marked as assessed. Notice the folder in the Results pane. This is a Favorites folder. Favorite problems can be grouped together in a Favorites folder for easier access and searchability. In our example, we have a Diabetes Favorites folder where we have grouped a couple of the most common diabetes problems we have seen. To view the problems listed, we'll single-click the Favorites folder. The problems in the Favorites folder now display, showing 2 diabetes problems. We can create and organize our Favorites folder while in the ACI by using a right mouse click. From the right-click menu, we'll select the Organize Favorites option. The Organize Favorites window displays showing the first level of folders. The folders listed here represent each tab within the ACI that contain a Favorites folder or an item listed in My Favorites. Since we see only the Active Problems folder, this means only the Active Problems tab has a Favorites folder or a favorite item listed in My Favorites. To see all of the Favorites folders and items listed in My Favorites for the Active Problems tab, we would click on the plus sign to the left of the Active Problems folder. All Favorites folders and items listed in My Favorites for the Active Problems tab now display. Let's review the buttons at the bottom of the Organize Favorites window. The first button is the Diagnosis Description button. Clicking on the Diagnosis Description button opens the Diagnosis Description window, which includes a list of all ICD-9 and ICD-10 codes associated with the selected problem. With the appropriate My Favorites item selected, let's click on this button to review the Diagnosis Description window. The Diagnosis Description window displays. We can see all ICD-9 and ICD-10 diagnosis codes associated with the problem cough. To close the Diagnosis Description window and return to the Organize Favorites window, we'll click on the OK button. We have returned to the Organize Favorites window. Let's create a new Favorites folder. The first step to creating a new Favorites folder is to click the New Group button. A new folder appears with its name highlighted and ready to be changed. For our example, let's type in the title Cough, then press Enter. Our Favorites folder is now titled Cough. Another feature of this window is to move My Favorites items or Favorites folders into other Favorites folders. For example, we can move the problem of cough into a cough folder. To do this, we need to single-click on the cough problem, then click on the Move button. The Move to Group window displays. The next step is to select the folder into which we want to add the problem. In our example, we'll select the cough folder with a single click. Once we have selected the cough folder, clicking on the OK button finishes the move. Note, similar to the process we completed to add the cough favorites folder, we can create a new favorites folder from here by using the New Group button. Let's continue by clicking on the OK button to return to the Organized Favorites window. Notice the cough problem is no longer listed in this view. This problem now resides in the cough favorites folder. To view the cough item, we would click on the plus sign to the left of the cough favorites folder. The contents of the cough favorites folder now display. The last two buttons are the rename and delete buttons. To utilize these buttons, we would select the appropriate folder from the list of values, then click on either the rename or delete button. The close button is used to close the Organized Favorites window and return to the ACI. We have returned to the ACI. Notice the cough favorites folder we created now displays. Now let's review the two types of ACI filters. The first filter allows us to narrow our search results, while the second filter allows us to display or hide specific problem details. Both filters are accessible through the filter icon. Let's single-click the filter icon to display the filter menu. The filter menu displays. The blue check marks indicate which filter options are currently selected. The top section of the menu illustrates the search filters which limit or broaden the search parameters. For example, if Exclude Non-Billable were selected from the menu, the search results would be limited to that parameter. Also notice Limit Search Results to Provider-Friendly Terms is already selected. Selecting an item that is already filtered removes the blue check mark and turns off that filter. This broadens the search results. Please take a moment and place your cursor over each search filter for a brief description. When you are ready to proceed, click the Continue button. The Details to Show section of the menu enables you to select the information you want to display or hide in the ACI as you are viewing problems. Our current settings show that we are viewing details on the ICD-9, ICD-10, and billing indicators. If we no longer wanted to see the ICD-9 codes, we would single-click the ICD-9 option in the menu. Notice the blue check mark no longer displays to the left of the ICD-9 option. To once again view the ICD-9 codes, we would single-click and the blue check mark would appear. After making selections here, you would single-click the filter icon to close the menu. There have been significant changes to the problem searching in 11.4.1. With 11.4.1, searches are based on weighted lexical algorithms, which means AEHR bases the search results first on the word position and then on the number of words entered. For example, the system will read ear infections and take into account that the word ear was in the first position and there were 2 words entered. Additionally, because of this change, common medical acronyms can also return accurate results. For example, you can use HX for history or FX for fracture. Here are a couple of searching tips. For most searches, the 2 filters, Limit Search Results per Concept and Limit Search Results to Provider-Friendly Terms, should be left on. Use the first 3 or 4 characters of each word in the phrase. Single words and fully specified words are less effective. For example, when searching for a problem such as congestive heart failure, it is just as effective to enter the first few letters of each word. Use plurals carefully as it may change your search results. Searching for fracture as opposed to fractures returns different results with different meanings. Let's continue by clicking on the Family History tab. We are now on the Family History tab. It's important to note that due to new meaningful use alerts, family history must be noted. If the patient does not have a pertinent family history, a new option of No Family History Items can be selected. The family member list now displays on the left side of the pane. Checkboxes allow a problem to be added to multiple family members at the same time. As an example, Amber's mother, brother, and grandmother all have a history of asthma. To add this problem to these family members, we'll first click the checkbox to the left of each person. Now we'll enter the search criteria of asthma, then press the Enter key to conduct the search. Keep in mind that you can still use the binocular icon in this case. The search results now display. In our example, we'll select asthma cardiac with a single click on the problem in the list. We have completed the steps to add Amber's family history. Let's continue with this lesson by clicking on the Social History tab. In the Social History section, there are two new IMO smoking status options that meet meaningful use requirements. The two options are heavy tobacco smoker and light tobacco smoker. The definition of a light tobacco smoker is someone who smokes less than 10 cigarettes per day. A heavy tobacco smoker smokes more than 10 cigarettes per day. Let's move to the Orders tab. We are now on the Orders tab. As mentioned earlier in this lesson, the Problem-Based Orders tab is now a sub-tab under the Orders tab. Additionally, the sub-tabs are ordered in groups, medication-related tabs first, then non-medication tabs. The Lab Procedures tab has been separated into three tabs titled Labs, Radiology, and Procedures. The last tab change is the addition of the Findings tab. On the Problem-Based sub-tab, there are two new radio toggle buttons. These radio buttons allow you to switch between care guides and quick sets for the selected problem. With the problem of essential hypertension selected, we'll click on the Care Guides radio button. The Care Guide for Essential Hypertension now displays. Within Care Guides, like medications that are prescribed differently have been grouped together. This allows for easier visibility when ordering. All variations of the SIG within Care Guides or Quick Sets are available by single-clicking on the medication. For example, if we click on Carvedilol, the menu displays all variations of the SIGs within the Care Guides or Quick Sets. Let's click on the pencil icon to access the quick edits. The one-click edit window displays. From here, we can change the days, quantity, number of refills, DAW, medication form, and date. After the information is edited, we would click on the OK button to save the changes and return to the care guide. If a new SIG was required, we would access the medication details window by clicking Edit. Three new instance columns have been added. The column to the right of the edit icon will display the prescription icon when the prescription listed already exists. In the next column, the pen icon appears indicating the instance of this item already exists. The final new column will contain an A or an A with an exclamation point when the patient has an allergy with an urgent or non-urgent reaction. Let's continue by clicking on the Medication tab. We are now on the Medication tab. There have been enhancements to the Drug Utilization Review or DUR alerts. One goal of these enhancements is to call more attention to serious alerts while reducing the number of less serious alerts displaying when ordering. There are two types of alerts, active and passive. Active alerts interrupt the ordering process to notify us that an action must be taken. Passive alerts are informational only and do not interrupt the workflow. Let's take a look at these two types of alerts. As shown here, the active alerts in 11.4.1 are the same as the active alerts in the current version of AEHR. However, what constitutes an active versus passive alert has changed. Active alerts include drug-to-drug alert, patient adverse reaction alert, and duplicate therapy alert. Let's illustrate the active alert with a duplicate therapy alert. Amber is already on albuterol, so let's prescribe another instance of albuterol. Once we click the medication, the RX Alert dialog window appears. We would enter the reason for continuing, then click on Continue. The Medication Details window displays. Notice the DUR Alert section at the bottom of the window. Here we can see all DUR alerts. For example, the duplicate therapy example we're working on is now indicated in the DUR Alert section. We would enter the SIG, then click on the Save and Return to ACI. We have returned to the ACI. Notice our duplicate therapy alert appears in the DUR alerts of the ACI. Passive alerts include drug-to-alcohol alert, dose check alert, drug-to-food alert, and drug-to-health alert. If the albuterol also had a passive alert, we would only see that alert in the DUR alert sections displayed similarly to the duplicate therapy alert. This concludes the 11.4.1 upgrade demonstration for the ACI. Learn.